So we need to find the frequency of the standing waves. You look at the table 1 on your lab report template. What we are going to do is to measure the total time for certain cycles and use that to calculate how long is one period, which is the time for one cycle, and then the frequency is 1 over the period. So for n equals 1, we are going to measure 6 cycles. So let me show you how to do that. You set up the standing wave, first standing wave, okay, and maybe damp it a bit. Okay, it's good enough. Okay, and now pick a point that is moving quite a bit. So I'm going to pick the middle green dot, and I use the reference line to locate it. I'll pause it and use the step to bring it to a point that the middle green dot is barely touching the reference line, and I'll use this point as the start of counting of time. So I turn on the timer, it's 0, and start the timer. It's not starting because the main button is paused. Okay, so I'm going to start it now and count 6 cycles. So it's going to go up and down and back to this position. That is 1 cycle, 2 cycles, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to pause now. It's about 6. Okay, it's about 6, but for the last, when it's coming back to 6 complete cycles, I'm going to step. Okay, right now is exactly 6 cycles. So this time is my total time for 6 cycles. But remember, this is for intermediate tensions, so it's not won't be your number. So let's try the next one. So let's try to measure n equals 2 now. So restart, and I'm going to set up the second standing wave. Okay, you want to start with a big amplitude and then damp it a bit. Yeah, that's fine. You don't want to use the middle green dot now because that doesn't move much. You want to choose, for example, the first green dot and pick a point that is moving relatively fast and pause. Choose your starting point that is barely touching. So right here. So the green dot is, first green dot is barely touching the reference line. This is my start counting of the time. So I will start my timer, and then I'm going to count 10 cycles. What you must do is you cannot use say 1, 3, 7 cycle, an odd number. That's because after 1 cycle, it doesn't really return to exactly the same spot. I can show you. So this is 1 cycle. You see, there's no position that the green dot is touching the reference line. That's because our wave is not perfect. But it doesn't matter. After 2, 4, 6, 8 cycles, it does come back to exactly the same spot. So we'll keep counting, okay? That's just 1 cycle now. This is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, pause. Make sure you pause before it finishes 10 cycles, because you cannot go back in time, even in this simulation. So keep stepping until it's touching there. This is back to exactly the same spot as our starting point. So this number will be the total time for 10 cycles for n equal to 2. Again, this is the intermediate tension.